How does that
No,
look?
I'm not saying that. You get some sense that there's a handful of stocks.
Look at that. I mean, you could tie that to the market. Bang. Okay, from time to time, we like to play a little game here on Commercial Break where I just rattle a bunch of stuff off.
Love
and
it.
Tim tells me what it is. Now, we don't rehearse this. This is not scripted. So don't
No.
come at us on
No,
Twitter.
in fact, it explains a lot. In fact, that it's not scripted. So here we go.
Just get ready for this. Okay, here I'm going to rattle off some names. Tell me what this is. So here we go. Chuck Berry, Sam Cooke, the Everly Brothers, Buddy Holly.
I'm in the 50s right now, sitting on that good bed.
That's Otis Redding. So
did you
I
name
haven't
him?
mentioned Otis, no, but that's okay.
These are some of the greatest bands of the 50s and early 60s, and they deserve a place to be immortalized somehow. All right, keep going.
And you are correct. So keep going with that theme, okay?
All right.
I'm just going to give you a couple other names.
Immortals.
Did I mention Little Richard? Did I mention Fats Domino? Did I mention James Brown and Ray Charles?
I found my thrill. By the way, and Richie Cunningham used to sing that song all the time. I found it annoying. Just when he was getting a little bit of, a little love.
He felt good about himself. He was confident. That was his "I'm Confident" song for Richie Cunningham.
Fats Domino was incredible, and I think Fats Domino made people happy, and that's what music does. So again, these are immortal, foundational rock and roll artists that, there's a reason why they're being lumped together. I assume it has something to do with that.
You're correct. They were all the inaugural members, a difficult word not only to say but to spell.
Inaugural.
Right, of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1986. I mean, I have not been, by the way.
I have not either.
I have to get out to Cleveland, Ohio.
Is that in Cooperstown? Is that in Cooperstown?
No, and it's interesting you mentioned Cooperstown because here you go, if you're ready for this one. I'm going to give you a couple other names, okay? Ty Cobb, Walter Johnson, the Big Train, Bucknell's own Christy Mathewson, of course, the great Babe Ruth. Somebody who, the Mets could only dream of having a player 1/10 of the Babe Ruth, and Honus Wagner. Not Hannes, by the way, Honus Wagner.
I assume you're giving me the first 5 people ever inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame based upon the chronology of when I understand these guys played. By the way, Ty Cobb, the Georgia Peach, was not a nice guy. And again, he was mean. And in fact, I think you probably had to be mean. In fact, I think, and if you think about the pitchers that were successful back in that day, you went up to the plate scared because you were going to get a little chin music. You're going to get pitched high and tight. You're going to get knocked back off the plate. Or when you played on the bases. I mean, look, baseball's gone so soft that a guy can't go barreling into second base like your boy Chase Utley did and broke one of our guys. Who's that? No, Chase Utley on the Dodgers. I'm trying to think. I was waiting for you to make fun of the Mets on this one. Broke somebody's leg at second base, and
No, listen. I mean, I think of more. So obviously, I'm favored the Yankees. So I think of Hal McRae. I think Hal McRae was one of the greats in terms of taking out shortstops or second basemen, trying to turn two. I remember vividly the image of him knocking Willie Randolph into left field one Yankee game.
Well, I mean, again, so what's happened to baseball is that aggressiveness that Ty Cobb played with has been neutered. And I think it's hurt the game, especially if you look at some of the other games. Look at even the NBA. The NBA is a physical sport. And I think that's what's made it a better sport. And I don't want to do the top 5 in the NBA because it's been such a tough run for my Knicks. I'm feeling a little down on hoops. But I think think about, so if we were putting together the Hall of Fame for corporate America, and companies that are the Ty Cobbs of their respective sectors, and let's keep the big 5 out of this. In other words, the 5 tech companies everybody knows that dominate the world. So let's stay Hall of Fame, top 5 companies, and you just briefly tell me why, or I'll tell you why, and we'll go from there.
Wow, so that's interesting. I mean, you got to think of companies that have been around a long time, not the obvious ones, not the FANG names that we talk about all the time. So I'll give you one. I think Disney is a really important American company, obviously
Why is that?
for a myriad of different reasons. I mean, what they do, obviously, parks and recreation, but what they do just on the content side of things. I mean, it's a huge content provider, and the flywheel you talk about all the times in terms of how they integrate the entire company. I don't think that can be paralleled by a lot of companies out there.
Well, the fact is that when I win the Super Bowl, I'm going to Disneyland. Tells you how stitched into the fabric of Americana Disney is. I'm going to go Johnson & Johnson. I'm going to say this pharmaceuticals giant, but it also happens to be a consumer products giant, is a company that's been part of our lives since we were having baby oil wiped on our little bottoms, Guy Adami.
I mean, I don't know back then if they could afford baby oil for my bottom, but I'm sure that if they had a few drops lying around, they would have used it sparingly. I think J&J is a good call. And then you have to probably go to banks because, listen, banks are an important part of what this country is built on. And you got to go to J.P. Morgan. You know, we've talked about Jamie Dimon, his importance, but the bank itself, I mean, if you think about the foundational companies of the United States, J.P. Morgan is one of them.
Yeah, I agree with that. And if you think about the lineage there and the legacy all the way back to Mr. James Pierpont Morgan, who also was the Ty Cobb of his day. I mean, these were not nice guys. And it's part of the explanation of how they got to where they are. I'm going to round this out as this 4. Well, number 4, I'm going to put Walmart in there. I'm going to say Walmart, which when you think about a retail experience, but when you think about an American experience, it's going to Walmart on a Saturday and shopping through this cavernous thing. Again, big like America. Walmart really created the superstore concept that's become a big part of it. And Walmart, look, if you're a brand, Walmart will make or break you. And again, if Walmart doesn't want to carry you on their shelves, that's a big deal. But if you think about really where they are, the place people go buy groceries, it's where they go buy clothes, it's where they go buy that TV set. It's the place where, my guess is you're picking yourself up a Mets T-shirt on a Saturday afternoon because you've decided actually they're your favorite team.
Well, that's not going to happen, as you know. And just to sort of round out your rounding out, I mean, logistics, so important. Federal Express, you can't underestimate what they've done as well. So I think we've rattled off 5 non-FANG names that would be in our inaugural Hall of Fame class. And I think it's a pretty good list.
And because I know those 5 CEOs are watching commercial break right now, I think what we should do is we should find an airport hangar, an airplane hangar. What do we call that? Is it a hangar?
An airplane hangar.
Airplane
hangar. Did you like, as a kid, hanger steak or skirt steak?
I don't think I could tell you the difference, but what I love about what the meat industry has done is that, I don't believe that was a great cut of meat at one point. And now the flank steak, the skirt steak, the hanger steak, they priced that thing right in there with the London broil. I mean, they're not fooling me.
It's interesting. And you mentioned the Steve Miller Band earlier. Obviously, everybody knows Fly Like an Eagle. But what I'll tell you is one of my favorite Steve Miller songs is The Steak. Not S-T-A-K steak, The Steak, S-T-A-K-E.
Dun, 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 dun. How am I doing? Right? That's it.
You're doing well. I mean, you're doing well.
Well, look, no one's handing us any money, but we really, at this point, I think we got to take the money and run. It's about that time. But talk to us about commercial break and where people can find us.
Look, it's typically 6 o'clock, but all day long at the airports, the hangars, the bars, the restaurants, the lounges, the gates, we're there.
The top 5, Tim Seymour, Guy Adami, 3 other people. We're commercial break.
See ya.